As you know, on the morning of Thursday, August 31st, inmate Danilo Cavalcante escaped from the Chester County Prison. Since the day of the escape, there have been several credible sightings within an area I described to you yesterday within Pocopson Township. We had one additional sighting of Cavalcante last evening within that perimeter and conducted a multiple hours-long search of the area, but were unable to locate him. Early this morning, we were notified by security at Longwood Gardens that they had trail camera photos taken on their property, which appear to be Cavalcante. This area is just south of the perimeter. Investigators quickly examined those photos, and we can confirm it is Cavalcante. The photos confirm that Cavalcante has not changed his appearance, but also that he has obtained a backpack, a duffel sling-type pack, and a hooded sweatshirt. Cavalcante is depicted in the photo walking north at 8:21 p.m. and then back south through the same location at 9:33 p.m. Working with the District Attorney's Office, several steps were quickly taken, including shifting our perimeter in an attempt to contain him between the southern end of the established perimeter and an area south of Route 1. The district attorney and I had a lengthy conversation yesterday afternoon with the superintendents of a number of area school districts. We had assured them that if anything changed, we would promptly notify them. As promised, that notification occurred at approximately 5 a.m., resulting in a decision by the Unionville, Chadds Ford, and Kennett Consolidated School Districts to cancel classes for the day. We will continue to work with those districts to determine what will occur in coming days. A reverse 911 call was sent out to the residents within a 1.5-mile area of the camera that was located, and that occurred at 5:27 a.m. This was expanded to 3 miles at around 7 a.m. We had already requested and begun to mobilize resources from additional federal agencies last evening to include the FBI and U.S. Customs and Border Patrol. People and equipment from those agencies is being mobilized and added to the search as we speak. We continue to ask for the public's help by familiarizing themselves with the photograph and the description of Cavalcante. We're also asking people in an expanded area from the Pocopson Township area south to be alert and to call us with anything suspicious. We ask them to please secure homes, outbuildings, and vehicles. Cavalcante has clearly already obtained some clothing and unknown other supplies, and we want to minimize any opportunity to obtain anything more. It is important we keep pressure on him as we continue this hunt. We're also asking residents and businesses anywhere in or near this area to check their home and business security cameras and call us with anything suspicious that they might observe. A tip line has been established, and we can be reached at 717-562-2987. That was 717-562-2987. We remind everyone that a reward totaling up to $10,000 has been offered for information leading to the capture of Danilo Cavalcante. What I would also ask is that people consider signing up for the alerts here in Chester County, and it's they can sign up at readychesco.org, readychesco.org. And with that, we will be happy to take any questions that you might have at this time.
So do you have reason to believe these?
I'm sorry, just 1 second. If we could display the photos here. I can start with the question why he's getting those photos up.
Do you have reason to believe that he's now actually out of that 2-mile radius that you were initially looking at yesterday?
Yes, we believe he is just south of that radius, and that's why, again, we've shifted that perimeter now to include that area. What I can tell you is I think that what's occurred is that that pressure that we've been putting on him is working. We squeezed him hard enough over a period of a few days, not able to get any relief, and managed to find a place to get out. Obviously, I wish we would have been able to capture him without him getting through that perimeter, but it is also not shocking. It's dark, it's a large area, and not to make excuses. I mean, it's just difficult terrain and things.
Is this area more remote, or is it more open?
No, actually, I think this is a little more open. I'm encouraged by the fact that he's there. The other thing I'm encouraged by is that we realized within just a few hours where he was, and so he's not had a tremendous amount of time to move a long distance. And so, again, it gives us another opportunity to now try and and squeeze him within that perimeter.
You've been watching a press conference in Westchester, Pennsylvania, related to an individual who is a convicted felon with no prospect of actually getting out of prison for murder. He's been on the run for 6 days now, and they're just giving an update in a press conference for the first time. Joining us now, CNN's Danny Freeman, Casey Jordan, criminologist and behavioral analyst and attorney, and Charles Ramsey, CNN senior law enforcement analyst and former Philadelphia police commissioner. Danny, as our correspondent that's been on the ground there for the entirety of this search, what stood out to you? What was the biggest news that you took away from that?
Well, the biggest news, Phil, is what we were teasing a little bit earlier in this hour, that it does appear now that this search has expanded quite a bit. Initially, law enforcement officials were saying that the search was really focused to a 2-mile radius just south of the Chester County Prison where we are right here. But now, last night, law enforcement officials say that this man, Danilo Cavalcante, was actually spotted on trail cameras in Longwood Gardens around 9:30 at night. I hope we have the images. You can see him. It's kind of an eerie picture. It's him shirtless with a backpack, still potentially wearing the prison-issued pants. Again, captured on a trail camera around 8:21, and then again at around 9:30 last night on Monday night. And Phil, I just want to describe Longwood Gardens just for viewers, in case they're unfamiliar with this particular area. It's a very popular tourist spot. Also, locals in the greater Philly region, they enjoy going there. It's a 200-acre sprawling space with a lot of gardens, a lot of lush open meadows as well, and also winding paths. And this Longwood Gardens had been closed because of the investigation during part of the weekend, but then it seemed like the search was being focused a little bit north of there. Now, in this press conference, we just learned the Pennsylvania State Police said that they've cleared some of the more northern parts of their search, and now they're looking at Longwood Gardens. But again, like I said, 200 acres, it's a huge space there. And we've been seeing a lot of Pennsylvania State Police troopers and other police presence all surrounding that area there.
Commissioner Ramsey, you were the police chief in Philadelphia. As you listened to this and you heard that they saw him again, someone saw him again last night, and that he's getting into structures or buildings and getting clothes, and one would think maybe cash, some sort of food, sustenance. What are your biggest questions this morning as they now expand the search radius?
Well, first of all, they're doing the right thing. They've adjusted their search area. They did recommend, and they followed the recommendation to get those schools closed. It's not so much that the schools themselves are in danger, but you have to look at the area where the students are drawn from, because now you got kids that'll be standing on side roads and so forth, waiting for buses to be picked up. So you don't want to expose them to anything at all. He's already apparently made entry into something. It could be a vehicle, could be a shed, could be a home. And that's why you see the change of clothes, you see the backpacks. He needs money, he needs food, he needs transportation. And so he's still desperate, and he's going to continue to do whatever he can do to get out of that area, because right now he's pinned in. And it's difficult terrain. It's taking time to be able to thoroughly search it, but eventually they'll get him. But in the meantime, you just hope that no one else is put in any kind of danger, because he is desperate, and he will break into a house. He will carjack a vehicle if he can. Those kinds of things you have to be very, very concerned about. And he may have access to a weapon now if he broke into a home. He could have a knife, he could have an edged weapon, he could have a gun.
Casey, to Commissioner Ramsey's point, I think this is my question listening to the press conference, that this was kind of framed as a positive result because they have the stress efforts, the pressure on him are working. That's why he went outside of the search radius. Explain that if you can, because it's been 5.5, 6 days at this point.
Right. And they're trying to triangulate the information. They're getting a lot of tips. Now, we know that at least 2, maybe up to 4 burglaries in that area could be attributed to him. And of course, we have that really surprising testimony of the man. He broke into his house in his kitchen, and he flashed the lights 5 times, and the guy flashed the light back. I mean, the temerity of that, like, thanks for letting me go, and out the door with food. But people will be missing that duffel bag, that sweatshirt, that backpack. And the more they can ask the public to help, has anyone taken clothes off your clothesline? Has anyone broken into your shed or your basement? You have to remember he had the foresight to escape on Labor Day weekend. So a lot of people have been away and may not even know that their homes or garages have been broken into. As they get that data, yes, I believe this is him who broke into my house. They will be able to get a clearer path and map it out where they think he is going. And that's why they keep expanding the perimeter. I think it would be really helpful if they mapped it for us, if they showed us exactly where the sightings were, where the burglaries were, because the public, I'm convinced, are going to solve this, mostly with their home security cameras.